Good evening, everybody. This is a momentous occasion. If this can ever get in focus, we can see what this thing is. If I push this button, will it work? There we go. So, this is the first box with parts for my new computer. Go ahead, review me? Indeed, I shall. This is getting a little beat up there because I had to walk home with it. This came to work, my workplace. I ordered it late Monday night, and it came tonight, Thursday night, after work. So that's pretty good. That's Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night. That's just 3 days. And considering where I'm living and working right now, which is not the middle of nowhere, it's actually the end of nowhere. I live in Prince Rupert, British Columbia, which is on this little island here, Kane Island. If we can get this in focus. There we go, Kane Island. It's just below the Alaska Panhandle. That's where the Alaska Panhandle starts, right there, above the AB line, they call it. Now, trivia. What the U.S. considers the border and the maritime boundaries, there's some subtle differences between what the U.S. thinks it is and what Canada thinks it is. So hopefully, maybe sometime we can get that straightened out. But for now, there's they're kind of at ease. They're not boarding too many other fishing boats from the other country, so it's all good. This here is Graham Island, part of the Haida Gwaii archipelago, formerly known as the Queen Charlotte Islands. And you can actually, there is a road on Graham Island. These charts aren't actually very good for showing roads. It's just really not a priority. It's all about the sea. But you're not actually missing much. There's hardly any roads on the BC coast. You can drive to Prince Rupert from the interior. There is a road that goes from here at Queen Charlotte City up to Masset, and there is a road that goes between Terrace and Kitimat, but on this map, that's about it. You gotta go down to like Vancouver Island before you start seeing any roads again. So this is really remote. This is like about as far as you can get away from stuff and still be on the North American road network. That's one way to describe Prince Rupert. So the fact that this came here in 3 nights is pretty cool. And it's even kind of less than that, because again, it was like midnight Monday night when I ordered this. So I was really excited, and work called me. They're like, hey, you've got this package here. You might want to pick it up. And I was like, when I picked up the phone, I was kind of in a jovial mood, because I was like, well, if they want something, if something broke, I'll be polite and helpful, but I'm not going to be able to drive there. It's not 5 o'clock anymore. It's quarter after booze. So anyway, but no, it was this computer that arrived, or parts of it. So and I thought I was just going to be able to put this in my backpack. Like maybe it was just the CPU and power supply, and I could just put those in my backpack and walk back home. It's about a 15-minute walk each way. I'd never actually walked to work before, the whole time I've been here, this job or the previous job. So anyway, let's start opening stuff up. May contain awesome. Can't argue with that. Oh, you're not serious. I gotta download your app to get deals? Yes, I really want to shop carefully for the parts I need for my new computer on my 6-inch phone. Yeah, that's a really good idea. I'm glad that they allow that. Last flap to awesome. All right, here we go. Ooh, power supply. Okay, oh, that's quite big. I didn't think the box would be quite that big. It is a fanless power supply. So what I'm hoping it will be is quiet. The last thing I need is more all the time. You can see how, you can hear how that would get annoying. So hopefully this will provide enough go juice, 400 watts. I'm not building a big gaming system here. Let's get that right out the door. Hopefully I'll be able to do some streaming with this. Platinum. Ooh, it looks like that's pretty heavy. Yeah, I'm not gonna open it now. Like I'm just sort of profiling the parts that I'm getting as they come in. Oh yeah, trivia. So I drove across Canada to get here, and when I hit Alberta in Lloydminster there on the right, to the right of Edmonton, to the east of Edmonton, this was all they had. They didn't have proper road maps. I did get one. I got a real official Alberta road map there in Hinton, which is the black question box there. I guess that's the last official provincial visitor information center as you're heading towards Jasper and then BC. Anyway, really helpful folks in Hinton, and they had official road maps. It was really smoky when I was there too, because it was the 2017 BC forest fires, and now we get 2018 BC forest fires. It's kind of a thing, these BC forest fires way out there in the interior. Anyway, okay, so yeah, this power supply, I'm really psyched. Hopefully it can provide the cooling I need and the... Well, actually, wait. Do I use power supplies for cooling? No. Like a case would have fans. I guess the idea is that the power supply itself doesn't get hot enough to require a fan. I think that's it. Yeah, I'm kind of new with this. Anyway, packing list. What do we got here? CPU and PSU. Okay, central processing unit and power supply unit. Goody gumdrops. So what do we got here? The AMD Ryzen 5 2400G 3.6 gigahertz. No, oh, gigahertz. Okay. Box has gotten a bit beat up. I hope that wasn't me. But these things are pretty well protected, so I'm not too... Oh, that's it right there. Well, I hope I don't have to send this back because it got damaged in transit. And that wouldn't have gotten that way just from me carrying the box, I'm sure. I mean, that... Anyway. Well, hopefully that'll be alright. Anyway, so this has integrated graphics. It's got... See here, it's a quad core with simultaneous multi-threading. Intel calls their solution hyper-threading. I would imagine AMD's implementation is a similar idea. It just doesn't have the hyper-threading brand name. So what that does is each of those threads, like two threads per core, appears to your operating system as if it's a whole other processor. But all it is, it's just like, it's got basically like a queue and like a sort of like a staging area where it can dump its work into, and then the CPU will pick it up once it gets finished with the work on the other side. So it can only do one thing at a time. So strictly speaking, you can only do 4 things at a time. But because it's just got so a much broader queue, it can accept more stuff from the operating system at the same time because it's got the 8 threads. Although I'm hearing now that there's some security vulnerabilities or some malicious processes that happen to be in the same core as something that's in the other thread of the same core can access the memory of the other thread, and that is bad. That is bad. I mean, they'd really have to rely on random chance, I think, for that to be very helpful, but yeah, you don't want that. So hopefully they'll do something about that soon. I'm noticing getting on the Linux kernel is just getting endless microcode updates for all these different chips, and I'm thinking, gosh, they must be really they're really working hard to patch all the holes on these various chips. But if everybody's got the problem, hopefully it'll all get fixed. So yeah, here's a lesson in life. You don't want to be the only one with a problem. If you have a bad problem that and you're the only one who has it, that's really bad for you. But if you've got a bad problem and 1,000,000 people have it, well, there's a chance somebody might do something about it. So anyway, let's get this open. Okay, so a couple more things going on here. We see at the top, this is the heatsink fan. You even see on the box it says heatsink fan included, which is exactly, 6 megabyte cache. Unlocked. Okay, so that means you can, if you're crazy, you can speed up the processor and like make it go beyond kind of what it's designed for. And that's going to create more heat and it's going to be less reliable. But there are there are people who are, maybe they're not like, running big research projects or doing like real-time satellite tracking or something where, like if it crashes, it's not the end of the world. So they'll just, get like souped up water cooling or big enormous fans and cases that you can really breathe well, and which, I mean, maybe some of the stuff you could do anyway, even if you weren't overclocking, but you're going to get all this. You're going to have to somehow deal with how it's going to be running hotter, and so I probably wouldn't overclock it with the standard power supply. Although, okay, here's where I gotta say I don't know what I'm talking about, but I'll just say that I don't intend to overclock it with the standard power supply. Yeah, I mean, it's nice to have the option. Like if I was trying to like do something and for some reason I just couldn't unless I overclocked it, then I might consider it. Anyway, this is it. Okay, so there's some protection on it. It's not just that's going to get covered with thermal paste or something anyway, and I think that's wasn't included in this box, so I think I'm probably going to have to buy my own thermal paste. I wonder what that is. So yeah, this is the first time I've ever bought a new CPU for myself, so I'm pretty excited. Look, this fan actually takes up most of the box, so lucky to actually get one included. What's hilarious is I see those reviewers on YouTube opening up AMD Threadripper cases, which are just like, I mean, like, so these are amazing, like 12, 24 core, just like amazing new processors from AMD. And but the boxes are huge, like bigger than this. I mean, maybe that's just the boxes that they're handing out to reviewers, but it's so ridiculous because like the chip might be like the size of this box. Like it'll be double that, because I think this is like a single socket, and I think that's a dual socket design. I don't know a whole lot about this, but it's funny, like and then when I buy one, I get like a box that's just big enough to hold the power supply and the CPU, and the power supply takes most of the box. Sorry, the cooling fan takes most of the box. So let's see here. There's a little plastic lid. Okay. So I'm not gonna get too take aparty until I like actually get the case and motherboard. And the case is not coming from Newegg. The case is coming from Amazon. Both the case and the monitor. They're coming from, and not Amazon itself, but I think it's like called Canada Computes and Electronics, and they sell on Amazon. But anyway, we're off to an all right start. We've got our power supply, and we've got our CPU, and you can't get anything done without those. Oh, and I also wanted to say that this includes integrated graphics. So this is about this is among the better integrated graphics you can get, and probably among the fastest CPUs that you can get that include include graphics on board. And a lot of like hardcore gamers will get separate video cards. I am not going to be gaming in 3D hardly at all. In fact, 3D games actually kind of make me nauseous. So like my idea of 3D gaming perfection is Super Mario 64. That's where I'm at. So yeah, I like outside of like emulation and running like the Steam ports of Final Fantasy 7 through 9, I'm going to be doing very little 3D gaming. So integrated graphics will be just fine for me. Although, a little preview, I had a heck of a time finding a motherboard that would have Wi-Fi, which I needed. I suppose I could have gotten a card for Wi-Fi, but I didn't want to. I wanted everything all in one. I had a heck of a time finding a motherboard that had Wi-Fi and DisplayPort and HDMI out. And I mean, I would have settled for 2 DisplayPort or 2 HDMI out, but I could, or like even a DVI and a DisplayPort or something. But like, yeah, you couldn't get it's hard to get. Most of the motherboards I looked at only had 1 video output, which I thought was crazy. But then I guess people are getting these graphics cards, and the graphics cards will have a couple of video outs on them. So anyway, so I'll have my integrated graphics, and I'm not gonna win any benchmark competitions, but it'll be easy to take care of, and it saves money. Like I don't have to spend a few $100s on a half decent graphics card, so I'm pretty happy about that. The prices for them all like skyrocketed too. They're starting to come back down now, but because they happened to be the kind of processors that they have inside graphics cards also happen to be really good for mining Bitcoin. Like cryptocurrency kind of stuff. But now there's like dedicated purpose hardware that's good for mining cryptocurrency. So they've kind of moved on to that, and graphics cards now are reasonably priced again. So yay! Except I'm not getting a graphics card. But if I were, I could have built a version of this that like had a separate graphics card, but didn't have to. So okay, so answer to question, what was that? They were case stickers. So you can stick those on your case and tell the world you got Ryzen CPU and Radeon graphics. And the CPU looks to be quite well protected. That's all plastic. This is all still covered up. And over here, you've got this instruction sheet. It looks like a little notice, and it's printed in Chinese first. But if you flip it over, it's got English. And it says that it is compatible with socket AM4 motherboards when a compatible BIOS update has been installed. Now, funny thing, how are you going to update the BIOS on your motherboard if you don't have a chip that'll work with your motherboard? Answer, you have to get a loaner CPU. You have to get an older loaner CPU that will work with the motherboard, update the BIOS on the motherboard, and then you send back the loaner and then install your new CPU. So funny. So, and in fact, I mean, they may still be selling motherboards today that aren't compatible with this latest Ryzen. So, well, actually, this isn't like, I think this is Zen, and it's not like Zen 2 or Zen Plus or whatever the very latest thing AMD does is. But anyway, so hopefully they will. My motherboard will work. If it doesn't, it'll be an adventure. I think I'll have to go to the computer store and say, "Excuse me, can I? Do you have an open box CPU I could borrow?" So that'll work in an AM4 socket. So anyway, we'll see how that goes.